the good ship. Lollipop, it's a sweet trip to a candy.
Shirley Temple lived a long life worth remembering. Describe Shirley in 1 to 3 words.
Little ray of sunshine.
She was widely known as a child singing, acting, and dancing sensation. However, many people don't know that she was also a historic political figure. From ages 3 to 12, she made 44 child star movies. Nicknamed Little Miss Miracle, she brought happiness to everyone during the Great Depression. She won awards such as the Juvenile Award at the Academy Awards and even a spot on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. But she was also a great politician and person in general. She was the representative of Ghana and Czechoslovakia, mother of 3 children, the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations from 1969 to 1970, and the only person to date to reach the rank of honorary U.S. Foreign Service officer and survivor of breast cancer. Why do you think Shirley was an inspiration/leader?
I think she was a diplomat all of her life. I know she got the official title in the 60s, but as a child actor, she was Little Miss Miracle that Roosevelt called her, because people would go watch her to forget about all their problems in the Great Depression.
Shirley Jane Temple was born April 23, 1938, to George Francis Temple and Gertrude Temple. The youngest in her family, she had 2 brothers, Jack and George Jr. Her mother, a former dancer, encouraged Shirley to be a dancer as well at a very young age. When she was 3, she landed a contract with Educational Pictures and made some short films entitled Baby Burlesques. She had a great team behind her dad as her financial officer and agent, and her mom as her #1 supporter. Eventually, Shirley signed a contract with the Fox Film Corporation. Though she had been cast in few films before, uncredited and short, she starred in her first Hollywood feature film, Carolina, when she was 6. When Shirley was not on set making films, she would go to the Westlake School for Girls, which also taught her performing arts. During the same year as Carolina, 1934, she made some of her most famous films, such as Stand Up and Cheer, Little Miss Marker, Baby Take a Bow, and Bright Eyes, which won her an Academy Award for Outstanding Personality of 1934. What impact do you think Shirley made as an ambassador and a survivor of breast cancer?
I think she was always a survivor, so I think breast cancer was just another stepping stone for her. She survived Hollywood, she survived the Great Depression. She didn't have a very big acting career in her teens because everybody saw her as Little Miss Sunshine when she was little. So after her teen movie days didn't work out, she went into the government, and she served her government until she died.
Shirley's acting career was slowly coming to a stop, but she was already such an inspiration to kids and adults everywhere. There was no doubt Shirley had already left a legacy as a gifted child star, but no one expected her to later leave such a different and greater effect on the world. How has Shirley influenced your daily life?
I had hair that just looked just like Shirley Temple, so when I was 2, my parents decided to put me in dance classes, and I stayed in dance classes for 27 years of my life, and it thoroughly directed the person I came to be. So I kind of gear that toward the fact that Shirley Temple was in our lives.
When Shirley turned 13, it was obvious her acting career was ending and America's Little Miss Miracle was growing up. She made a few movies afterwards, such as Bluebird, The Bachelor and the Bobby Soxer, and Fort Apache, but these movies were not given the best of reviews compared to other Shirley movies and films. Shirley said, "When I was 14, I was the oldest I ever was." Shirley was married to John Agar in 1945 when she was 17. She had her first child on January 30th, 1948, Linda Susan Agar. Next year, 1949, she divorced John. Then, in 1950, she married Charles Black. Together they had 2 children, Charles Jr. and Lori. Around the late 60s, Shirley started taking interest into public service. In 1967, she ran for Congress but unfortunately lost. But from 1969 to 1970, Shirley was the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. In 1972, Shirley was diagnosed with breast cancer. This changed people's entire perspective of Shirley. Most people saw her as a little girl who brought smiles to their faces, then as a young lady who could be a great leader for America, a kind mother and a loving wife. This was when her fans realized that Shirley was not a young girl anymore, but a strong woman who could fight through illness capable of death. Shirley was also one of the first few women to publicly talk about breast cancer. She believed that women should be able to choose their own treatment when dealing with illness. Shirley underwent radical mastectomy that year, an operation to remove one of her breasts. Shirley now had a completely different reputation, not as a fragile child star, but a strong leader and survivor. In 1974, she was appointed to the Ambassador of Ghana. From 1976 to 1977, she was the U.S. Chief of Protocol. In 1988, Shirley became the only person to date to achieve the rank of Honorary U.S. Foreign Service Officer. In 2005, Shirley won the Screen Actors Guild Life Achievement Award. Shirley Temple passed away February 10, 2014. She died peacefully, and her life was greatly celebrated by her fans. How did you react to Shirley's death? How do you think it affected the other fans of Shirley?
I think it really affected the generation before me, my parents' generation, because they went to go see her. I mean, every Saturday they'd go to the movie to watch her, and she was a symbol of America. She helped them forget their problems, and I think probably that generation felt it more deeply than our generation or your generation.
Shirley Temple is an inspiration because she showed America that women should be valued as much as men. She brought awareness to breast cancer and other problems regular women wouldn't regard usually. Shirley is my inspiration, many others' inspiration, and hopefully now your inspiration.